Today we're going to graph absolute value functions not using a calculator, just by hand. We're going to do that by identifying the vertex and then looking at how each point is going to move from that vertex. So in this equation, h and k tell us what the vertex is going to be. And really it has to do with the vertex originally is at 0, 0. The h is going to move that vertex horizontally, left or right. And then the k is going to move the vertex up or down a certain number of units. So in this first example, number 5, the +2 tells us how the graph is going to move horizontally. Which way does +2 move the graph? Left. Left 2, which would move it to -2 something. The y value of the vertex is from the up and down movement. So does this one move up or down? Up by 3 units. So left 2, up 3, that will place the vertex right there at the point -2, 3. Now I want you to notice that it said +2 in the equation, and that ended up being -2 for the vertex because it's the opposite. The +3 is the same. It does not change at all. So you may want to jot in here that the -2 is the opposite and the 3 is the same. Always. The x value is always opposite because plus actually means left and minus actually means right inside the absolute value bars. Okay. How the graph opens is controlled by whether or not there's a negative in front. So there is a negative in front of this one, and that means the graph opens down. Of course, I wrote the wrong thing. So it's going to look like the mountain shape graph, not the V-shaped graph. Is this a stretch or a shrink? That is determined by the number that's in front of the absolute value bars. Neither. So right over stretch and shrink, I'm just going to write a big old none. Okay, now do you really need all of this information to graph it? No. All you really need is the vertex and then how to get some more points. So we're not really supposed to call this the slope, but we're going to call it the slope. This one has a slope of -1. That means that from the vertex, we're going to move down 1, right 1. But also from the vertex, we're going to move down 1, left 1. We have to create that V shape from the vertex. So from the vertex, we're going to go down 1 and then right and left 1. Then from each of those points, down 1, out 1, we're going out from, I put it in the wrong spot, we're going out from that symmetry line in the middle, down 1, out 1, and so on, down 1, out 1, and there's our V shape. Try number 6 on your own. Pause the video if you're watching the video. Okay, the x value of the vertex. The -1 means right 1, so that'd be a +1 on the vertex. -1 means down 1, so your vertex is at 1, -1. And really all you need to graph this is the vertex and the so-called slope. This one, there's no number in front of the absolute value bars. That means a +1. So from this point, we would go up 1, out 1, up 1, out 1, and so on. Get enough points that you can get a good idea of the V shape so you can draw a decent sized V. I don't want you drawing like a tiny little 2-unit V. Make it cover a decent part of the graph. This one opens up because there's no negative in front of the absolute value bars. It is not a stretch or a shrink because there's no number in front of the absolute value bars. There's just a 1. It moved right 1 and it moved down 1. All right. Let's excuse me. Number 7. What looks different about number 7? There's no K. There's no number after the absolute value bars. So what number do you think that would be? That'd be a +0. So when we do the vertex, the -1 will give us the first part of the vertex. So what is the first part of the vertex? +1. And then the 0 will give us that second part of the vertex. So this time our graph is at 1, or our vertex is at 1, 0. What is the so-called slope of this one? 2. That means from this vertex, we're going to move up 2, out 1. Up 2, left 1. If you need to, you can put like a dashed line straight through the vertex just to remember where the vertex is. Or I have had people graph the vertex in a different color, so I know like that's the point, that's the changeover spot, and then make your points on either side. Up 2, out 1. And you can keep going if you want. And there's your V shape. Does this one open up or down? Is it a stretch or a shrink? It is a stretch. Stretches are more narrow, shrinks are more wide. Stretches are when that number is greater than 1, like 2, 3, 4. This one moved right, and it didn't move at all up or down. All right, number 8 is very similar to number 7, except this time it doesn't have the H value. So what's the first part of your vertex going to be? 0, because it doesn't move any side to side, it only moves up or down. So now you finish number 8 on your own. Your vertex is at 0, 1. All this graph did was move up 1. It is a shrink because -2/3, 2/3 is smaller than 1. We need to go down to right 3. And again, it can be helpful to make the vertex a different color. From the vertex down to left 3. Thank you. Oh, that's not a very good line.